Every human interaction looks balanced on the surface. Two people talking, two opinions, two sides. But beneath the surface, something invisible is always happening. A struggle for control. It's not violent. It's not even conscious. It's psychological. In every conversation, one person leads reality, and the other follows it. One defines what things mean, and the other agrees without realizing it. Equality is a polite illusion. Control is the real currency. Watch any social exchange closely. One person frames the moment, sets the tone, the pace, the emotion. The other adjusts to it. It's subtle. A pause, a look, a shift in voice, a choice of words. The one who reacts always loses ground. Control doesn't announce itself. It hides in rhythm. The one who sets the rhythm silently decides what is normal and what is not. That's the hidden law of human interaction. Whoever defines reality first wins. Most people never notice this. They believe connection is mutual, that honesty and openness make relationships fair. But fairness doesn't exist in human dynamics. Only gravity does. Some people pull, others orbit. Some project certainty, others respond to it. The mistake weak people make is believing communication is about truth. It's not. It's about perception. Whoever controls perception controls behavior. The illusion of equality keeps society stable. It convinces the masses that everyone's opinion carries the same weight. But in private, power never works that way. The confident salesman defines value before the buyer even speaks. The charismatic leader defines loyalty before the follower questions it. The calm, composed individual defines tone before anyone else decides how to feel. It's not force, it's framing. The world bends toward whoever stays unmoved. The weak try to win through logic. The strong win through presence. You can't argue your way into control because control isn't granted. It's taken quietly. It's earned through composure, through precision, through the ability to hold your state, no matter what others project. The moment you react, you confirm their authority. The moment you adapt, you acknowledge their frame. Most people think they're making choices. In truth, they're choosing inside someone else's design. Every advertisement, every argument, every negotiation, all rely on the same principle. One person defines reality, and the other accepts it. That's why control isn't about dominance. It's about subtlety. The one who controls the meaning of things doesn't need to shout. His version simply feels like the truth. So, understand this. Human interaction is never equal. There are always two sides. The one who reacts, and the one who decides what the reaction means. Every word, every glance, every pause is a negotiation of influence, and only one side walks away with control. Control begins with definition. Whoever defines the situation defines the truth. That's the hidden law behind every conversation, negotiation, and argument. People think they're exchanging information. In reality, they're fighting to decide what the moment means. The one who defines meaning controls emotion, and emotion drives behavior. That's framing. Framing is invisible leadership. It doesn't demand attention, it assumes it. When you walk into a room, speak, pause, or even sit. Your tone, timing, and certainty tell others what is normal. If you act like time is yours, everyone else starts to move on your rhythm. If you act like you're waiting for permission, the frame shifts, and someone else takes control. Frames change not by words, but by energy. The steady lead, the uncertain follow. Weak men live inside other people's frames. They let others decide what's offensive, what's acceptable, what's worth chasing. They adjust their tone, their humor, even their opinions to avoid conflict. It feels polite, but it's submission. The man who never holds his own frame slowly disappears inside someone else's reality. He stops living. He starts adapting. The strong do the opposite. They carry their reality with them. Their calm redefines every space they enter. If they say little, it's not hesitation. It's dominance. Their perspective becomes gravity. The conversation bends around it. Framing isn't arrogance, it's awareness. The understanding that people don't follow truth, they follow conviction. When your confidence feels certain enough, others mistake it for fact. But the frame isn't something you shout into existence. It's something you maintain. The moment you argue to protect it, you've already lost it. Explanation lowers power. Silence reinforces it. The powerful don't justify. They clarify through action. If someone challenges your frame, you don't debate. You hold posture, hold tone, hold calm. The weak react to words. The strong protect rhythm. Control belongs to whoever refuses to rush. The truth is simple. Every interaction is a contest of realities. Only one will survive. If you don't create the frame, you'll be trapped inside someone else's. And once you accept their version of the story, you play their role in it, whether you realize it or not. So stop entering conversations trying to be right. Start entering with the intent to define. Because the one who defines decides, and the one who decides controls. In every exchange, tension decides hierarchy. The one who can hold tension the longest always ends up in control. That's why composure is more than patience. It's dominance, disguised as calm. When others rush to fill silence, defend their point, or prove emotion, the composed man waits. He doesn't need to win every moment. He only needs to outlast it. Most people are slaves to their emotional reflexes. They confuse reaction with power. They raise their voice to feel seen, interrupt to feel relevant, argue to feel dominant. But emotion is predictable, and whatever is predictable can be controlled. The man who stays calm while others lose composure becomes the gravitational center of the room. Everyone's tone starts to adjust to his rhythm. They slow down, they explain more, they try to justify themselves. Without saying a word, he's leading. Composure is not apathy, it's precision. It's the control of energy, not its absence. The composed man still feels anger, excitement, or fear, but those emotions answer to him. He doesn't fight to suppress them. He redirects them. Anger becomes focus. Fear becomes awareness. He doesn't burn energy proving strength. He conserves it until it becomes pressure. While others waste energy trying to dominate the moment, he dominates time. The secret of composure is detachment. When you stop needing to win every exchange, you begin to own it. You stop defending your ego and start managing the environment. You listen more than you speak. You speak less, but when you do, every word lands. People sense control in your silence, the way a steady hand unsettles a trembling one. The quiet man unnerves the loud because he cannot be moved, and movement always chases stillness. This is why composure is the foundation of power. Authority doesn't come from appearance or status. It comes from rhythm. Whoever dictates the rhythm dictates emotion. If you can stay calm while others rush to explain, apologize, or prove themselves, you force them to operate inside your timing. They begin to adapt to you without realizing it. That's control at its purest. Invisible, effortless, permanent. Machiavelli understood that fear and respect grow from predictability, from the man who never breaks character. Composure makes you unreadable. It hides weakness, multiplies authority, and commands attention without noise. Never let anyone drag you into their storm. Stay still, and they'll eventually drown in yours. Silence isn't weakness, it's pressure. Most people treat it like an empty space that must be filled. The powerful know it's the space that exposes truth. When you say nothing, you force others to face themselves. They start talking to escape the tension, and every word they spill gives you information. Their need for approval, their insecurity, their intent. Silence is the mirror that reveals character. Every conversation is a rhythm. Weak men rush to keep it alive. They interrupt, over-explain, laugh too quickly, try to rescue awkward moments. They don't realize they're training the other person to lead. The strong let silence stretch until the other side breaks it. They control tempo. They make stillness feel like judgment. And the longer they wait, the more the other person surrenders control just to fill the air. Power moves in that pause, in the moment where someone's discomfort becomes confession. Silence is strategic restraint. It's not about ignoring people. It's about forcing gravity back into your words. The less you speak, the more value your voice holds. The rarest sound in a noisy world is stillness. And that's why people lean in when you finally speak. Your silence makes them crave your voice. Every delayed response, every measured pause, conditions them to respect your rhythm. Silence also protects you. Words reveal state. Silence conceals it. The man who explains everything becomes transparent, predictable. The one who keeps quiet becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. You can't be attacked when no one knows what you're thinking. You can't be manipulated when no one can read your emotion. The calm stare across a table carries more weight than 100 speeches. But silence requires confidence. Insecure men can't bear it. They rush to fill it because they fear judgment. The strong welcome it because they understand silence isn't absence. It's control. It's the invisible hand guiding the flow of conversation. The one who masters silence doesn't compete for attention. He makes attention come to him. Used correctly, silence doesn't end dialogue. It defines it. It makes others reveal themselves, gives you time to read them, and forces respect without command. The longer you can sit comfortably in that quiet space, the more powerful you become. Because silence doesn't beg to be understood. It demands to be interpreted. And interpretation always favors the one who stays calm. The most effective control never feels like control. You don't push people. You steer them. You don't argue. You plant. You don't demand. You imply. The weak try to dominate through force. The strong understand that the mind resists pressure, but follows a curiosity. Suggestion is the art of guiding someone's thoughts, while letting them believe it was their idea all along. Every human mind seeks autonomy. We all want to feel like we're choosing freely, even when we're being led. That's why direct control fails. Tell someone what to do, and instinctively, they resist. But show them a path. Drop an idea. Create a question. And they walk straight into the frame you designed. That's how empires are built, how leaders are followed, how influence survives without confrontation. The strongest persuasion is invisible. Machiavelli understood that the ruler who gives orders creates enemies, but the one who gives direction creates loyalty. Suggestion turns leadership into seduction. You don't tell people what to think. You arrange their environment so that your idea becomes the most logical conclusion. They'll defend it as their own, unaware you designed the thought before it even entered their mind. Suggestion works because humans crave patterns. You use this by leaving gaps. The mind hates unfinished stories. It fills the blanks automatically, usually in your favor. Say less, hint more, and people will build meaning around your silence. They'll imagine your confidence, your plan, your depth, all while you've revealed nothing. The less you insist, the more they invest. The key is timing. Suggestion isn't manipulation. It's patience disguised as control. You introduce a thought, then retreat. You let silence work. They replay your words in their head until they believe it's insight, not influence. The moment they think the idea is theirs, resistance dies. Control achieved through ego feels natural, effortless, permanent. But suggestion requires discipline. It demands that you give up the need for immediate recognition. The weak want to be credited for every result. The strong prefer to remain unseen. The quiet strategist doesn't crave acknowledgement. He craves movement. Every nod, every changed behavior is proof enough. When people start aligning with your thinking without realizing it, you've mastered the art of subtle control. Force fades when attention shifts. Suggestion lasts because it hides inside identity. People will forget your words, but they'll keep the thoughts you placed there. And that's how control becomes eternal. Not by shouting commands, but by whispering possibilities. Control begins long before you speak. It starts in how you see. Every human interaction is a stream of signals. Tone, pace, hesitation, micro-expressions, choice of words. Most people are blind to them because they're too busy waiting for their turn to talk. The powerful don't rush. They observe. They collect data while others waste energy expressing themselves. The one who sees the most always holds the advantage. Observation is not watching, it's reading. Every gesture is a paragraph. Every silence is a confession. People reveal their motives constantly, not through what they say, but through what they try to hide. The blink after a lie. The subtle shift in voice when threatened. The body angling slightly toward the exit when uncomfortable. The man who trains himself to notice what others ignore can predict behavior before it happens. That's not intuition. That's pattern recognition refined through patience. The world is full of loud men trying to prove they're powerful, but real power is quiet because it's informed. You can't influence what you don't understand, and you can't understand what you're too distracted to notice. Observation requires humility, a willingness to step back and let silence work. It's not passive, it's preparation. When you observe without reacting, you collect leverage. Every reaction you withhold becomes a file stored for later use. The secret is to watch without judgment. The moment you judge, you stop seeing. Judgment filters reality through ego. Observation absorbs it through awareness. A master observer doesn't categorize people as good or bad, strong or weak. He studies patterns, cycles, cause and effect. This detachment makes him calm while others stay emotional. While they chase validation, he gathers intelligence, and when he finally acts, it feels effortless, because the entire time he's been 3 steps ahead. Observation also creates empathy, but not the kind that makes you soft. It allows you to predict pain, insecurity, and ambition. You start seeing why people move the way they do, not just what they do. This knowledge turns conversation into navigation. You steer emotions subtly, knowing which words anchor people and which ones make them drift. The more you see, the less you need to speak. People reveal themselves fully to the one who seems harmlessly curious. They tell stories, confess intentions, show weakness, all while thinking they're connecting. They don't realize they're giving you the map to their mind, because in the game of control, Knowledge isn't power. Timing is. And the man who observes long enough always knows when to move and when to stay perfectly still. Attachment is the birthplace of weakness. The moment you need a result, a reaction, or approval, you give away leverage. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means freedom from emotional dependence. When you no longer need an outcome, you start to control it. That is the law that governs every negotiation, every argument, every relationship. The one who needs less always leads. People chase control through pressure. They demand attention, force outcomes, argue to be right. But pressure exposes desperation, and desperation destroys authority. Control works the opposite way, through indifference. When you stop clinging to a single result, the other side begins to chase certainty from you. They lean in, talk more, reveal more, compromise more, all to recover the validation you quietly withdrew. Detachment is a mental weapon. It keeps your logic intact when emotion tries to hijack it. You no longer react to tone or timing. You respond to structure. You start noticing patterns in conversations. Who over-explains when nervous? Who grows louder when losing ground? You see emotion as data, not direction. While others drown in feelings, you stay above the surface, watching the current instead of fighting it. But detachment requires discipline. You must train yourself to pause when you want to chase, to wait when you want to prove, to walk away when you want to win. Each time you do, you reclaim a part of yourself that emotion used to own. The first few times hurt, because attachment feels safe. But safety is an illusion. It's just the comfort of being predictable. Freedom begins the moment you accept that uncertainty isn't danger, it's advantage. Detached men are often misunderstood. They're called cold, emotionless, arrogant. They're not. They're focused. They don't allow every opinion to reach them or every insult to shake them. Their calm frustrates people who thrive on chaos. Their lack of reaction feels like superiority, but it's really discipline. They don't compete for validation. They already own it. Detachment makes you untouchable, not because you control others, but because you've stopped being controlled by yourself. You don't need closure. You create distance. You don't beg for respect. You embody it. You don't fear loss. You calculate it. And when others realize nothing they do can pull you out of your state, the dynamic shifts. They start protecting your calm instead of trying to disturb it. In every human interaction, power tilts toward the one who can stay neutral. Need clouds judgment. Detachment clarifies it. The man who can walk away holds every card, because he's the only one who doesn't mind losing. Every human interaction is a silent battle of realities. Two people enter a moment, each with their own beliefs, emotions, and expectations. But only one reality will survive. The one who defines what the moment means holds control. That definition is the frame, the invisible boundary of perception. Whoever keeps their frame unbroken rules the interaction, no matter who speaks louder, argues harder, or moves faster. The frame decides what's real. In business, it decides value. In relationships, it decides worth. In conflict, it decides who's calm and who's cornered. People don't respond to truth. They respond to the frame around it. That's why power rarely belongs to the smartest. It belongs to the most certain. The one who holds their conviction longer, calmer, steadier, wins. Every frame begins as belief. The weak abandon theirs to avoid discomfort. The strong reinforce theirs with silence. Most people mistake flexibility for maturity. They adapt to others' emotions so quickly that they lose their own center. They agree just to be liked, apologize just to ease tension, and smile to hide discomfort. But every time you adjust your truth to fit someone else's, you surrender a piece of control. The one who defines the tone defines the truth. And the truth doesn't need to be right. It only needs to feel consistent. The man who holds frame doesn't chase validation. He creates the environment where others offer it voluntarily. His calm becomes context. His certainty becomes atmosphere. Even disagreement starts orbiting his composure. The frame doesn't need defense. It needs endurance. Once people realize you won't bend, they begin to shift around you. Your steadiness becomes gravity, but maintaining frame requires precision. It's not arrogance or aggression. It's presence, rooted, measured, unshakable. You don't impose your frame through noise. You impose it through refusal to react. The loud man controls seconds. The still man controls outcomes. Every test, every insult, every provocation is a question. Will you keep your reality intact? Most fail because they think control means confrontation. It doesn't. Control means defining the story before anyone else does, and never stepping outside it. The final truth is simple. Power belongs to the one whose calm feels like law. When your belief in yourself becomes stronger than others' opinions, your silence becomes command, and your presence becomes structure. Machiavelli would have called this the perfect form of control, not through dominance but through definition. The man who defines perception doesn't need to fight for position. Others willingly move into his design because it feels natural. They think they're choosing, but they're adapting. Control doesn't need volume. It doesn't need permission. It only needs consistency, because in every interaction, someone is leading the frame, and someone is living inside it. The question is never who's right. It's who defines what right means.